Taylor and Mullaney completed his 100 and David Hussey and Andre Adams both scored entertaining 50s, but Nottinghamshire were unable to grab any wickets on the second day of their LV County Championship match at Lords, one where the draw is already looking favourite on a batsman-friendly surface. Notts had worked really hard for their runs on the first day, on which they made 161 for 2 at only a little over 2¼ runs per over. A broken camera means that we can't pick up the action until late in the morning session, by which time Mullaney had not only scored his 100 but also recorded his best ever championship score, having started the day on 88. That was 125, an innings which occupied nearly 6 hours and was only ended when he top-edged a pull off Gareth Berg to Neil Dexter. It ended a brilliant knock, but the dismissal allowed Hussey and Patel to play some shots. Nottinghamshire are by no means out of the relegation woods yet, and they needed bonus points. 19 overs of the bonus point scoring overs remained when these two came together, with their side on 237 for 4. So if 350 was the aim by the end of 110 overs, then they had to get a wriggle on, something that Hussey was quickly doing. The visitors needed 79 runs off 10 overs to get to 350 in time, and Hussey then took Gurjit Sandhu apart, this 6 coming straight after back-to-back 4s. Patel was no slouch either. He, as he so often does, played some sumptuous shots in his 47. An innings which was ended when he was held, sensationally held, by Rayner off James Harris. Patel has found some ways of getting out this year, and yet he could still hardly believe Rayner's work in the slips. The big man can do no wrong right now. So, with a total on 297 for 5 and 34 balls of the bonus scoring overs to go, Nottinghamshire promoted Adams up the order. This was his first ball, and it went for 6. Hussey then smashed the last ball of the same over for another maximum, as he passed his 50 off just 45 balls. It's little wonder, looking at these pictures, why Nottinghamshire have made it through to the final of this season's Yorkshire Bank 40 competition. And the remarkable hitting went on for the next few overs as it began to rain 6s, which saw the visitors to the total they wanted, 350, with an over to spare. 79 runs in 10 overs would have been unthinkable not so many years ago, but no longer. Rayner was suddenly finding life a whole lot different from a week ago, when he was taking 15 wickets in a match across London against Surrey. Hussey has not been at his best in red ball cricket this summer, and time will tell just how valuable his 67 runs were here. He was out after edging Berg behind. Hussey and Adams had added 60 in 7 overs, and Adams was able to reach a brilliant 50, which arrived off just 43 balls. Needless to say, he reached it with a 6, his 4th to go with his 1-4. He may be 38 years of age now, but the Kiwi still has a fabulous eye, even if some other bits of his body aren't working as well as they once did. A 5th maximum soon followed, and he must have started to think that, late on in his career, he was going to add to his 3 first-class 100s. Incidentally, he now has 17 Championship 6s this year. That's 9 more than anyone else in the First Division, yet he scored only 353 runs. His innings here was ended on 80, as he just failed to equal Darren Stevens' record of 18 maximums this summer. Chris Rogers took the cat, and then Chris Reed declared with his side on 430 for 7. Adams had certainly entertained, his knock using up only 76 balls. With 35 overs left to go, now was the chance for the visitors to grab the initiative. 4 or 5 wickets before the close would have seen them well on top to secure the win, which should secure their First Division status for next year. But instead they didn't really come close to removing either Rogers nor Sam Robson at the top of the Middlesex order. While Robson was happy to block, Rogers went about his business in a manner we've all become used to by now. He's not really found his groove since coming back to the county game after his exploits in the Ashes with Australia, but he does love this ground and enjoys scoring runs on it. He eased his way to a 50 before stumps were drawn, one which used up 71 balls from which he'd struck 7 boundaries. He'd also made sure that his side hadn't capitulated as they had done when faced with a similar total during their last match here with Somerset. Nottinghamshire surely would have been disappointed about that. They would have thought that they'd battered themselves into a position of authority, but unless things change dramatically on day 3, that may not be the case. With Rodgers looking good on 67 and Robson still there as he tries to rediscover his early season form, Middlesex will resume their first innings on the third morning on 96 without loss, and that leaves them 334 runs adrift of their opponents, who could really do with some bowling points even if this game is eventually drawn.